This tank is the Foch, which is a French Tier 9 tank destroyer. I'm going to do a little bit of an overview about this tank. It does not have a turret, obviously, which means some of the skills that have to do with aiming the gun, you don't get the full effect without having, in terms of stabilizing the gun, you don't get the full effect of stabilization. You just get a lesser effect for gun movement. It turns somewhat slowly. I don't think it's as slow as a Yag Tiger, but it's got that slow feel that a Yag Tiger has. So you're going to be very vulnerable if someone tracks you. I seem to recall it has good gun depression. I'm happy with the gun depression, which is common because the gun is located basically at the front of the tank. In terms of penetration, I've had some good surprises with the AP rounds. It's lightly armored, which makes it fast. So it probably does like 50 kilometers. And the reverse speed is actually pretty good also, which I believe is 17 kilometers. One of the big problems with this tank is you got this big thing up at the top, which is common with a lot of French tanks. So if you get close to the enemy, you have a huge weak spot. You want to keep distant from the enemy. And you certainly don't want them to hit you on the side. However, the technique of side scraping, if you look at your frontal armor, it's a pretty good angle for side scraping, whether it's your frontal armor or your side armor. I don't know if you can, I don't know how easily you can penetrate that side armor. And of course, this is not the type of thing that you're going to side scrape while you're firing, but you're going to side scrape while you're reloading. You have to angle your tank towards incoming fire so that you have the best penetration angle for yourself to your advantage. One of the things that I don't like about this tank, even with the upgraded engine, I'm finding it to have problems scaling steep slopes. I'm having trouble getting to locations, sniping, elevated sniping locations. I do not have the upgraded tracks on this yet. I haven't played that many games. I've probably played 30 games so far. And I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible so I can get the Tier 10 Foch, which is going to be retired from the game. So I want to research it as quickly as possible. I'm about halfway done. I've been using it to do some of the TD missions. That's weird. Oh, okay. I was wondering why I didn't see the enemy tank. Oh, he's there. That's an example where I'm using AP rounds against a Type 4 Heavy and it's doing damage, even though it looks like it's not his strongest armor. I do tend to receive a lot of incoming fire. If I get spotted, I get hammered. This is the type of tank that you just don't want to get spotted while you're driving this thing. When you get hit, you're going to take a lot of damage. It's not like a T-29 or a T-34 where you have incredible armor somewhere. So you're going to get hit a lot, and mobility-wise, it's a little bit spiffy. Considering that it's a Tier 9, it moves around the battlefield rather quickly. It's a somewhat of a large tank. It's not, obviously it's not as big as a Type 4 Heavy, but it's somewhat of a large tank. Obviously the smaller tier tank destroyers are a lot smaller. I have gotten some good ricochets, and I'm trying to do a mission to get 4,000 damage, and I'm not getting it. I'm doing, you know, close to 4,000, or I'm doing 2,000, no problem. I think it only does 490 damage per shot. It does 400 damage per shot. So, in my experience, to get 10 penetrations is usually a good game. A typical game, I would say 7 or 8 penetrations. So it's going to be in the 3,000 range is going to be a typical game. You should easily get 2,000 damage. with this tank. And because I just got the tank, I'm top tier a little bit more often, which I believe is something that happens when you first purchase a tank. You get top tier a little bit more often. I haven't had any large damage games. I haven't had anything above 4,000. Some of the other tanks, like a Type 4 Heavy, is a killing machine. You roll out in Type 4 Heavy, you destroy lots of tanks. This is not that type of tank. I did get 4 kills in this game, and I did 1,700 damage and 147 spotting damage. But in terms of tank destroyers, I would say that this is not the greatest Tier 9 tank destroyer. It's not like the American tank destroyers are do 750 damage. The like the T110 E3 or E4 or whatever it is, and then you got the British ones that probably do 1,750 damage when you get up to Tier 10. You really got to get the Tier 10 to really appreciate the Foch, but the Tier 9 is a good intro to what the Foch is. You get used to the handling, and it is very much similar to the AC that comes before it. And of course, if you like this type of a tank, you're probably going to like the Russian SU series of tanks, which have no turret, or some of the uh, perhaps German tanks that are a little bit similar to this. Okay, so that's my review of the Foch. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.